Changes all the time, this place. Like literally you walk down the street and something's different. For some things that are always changing or changing all the time, there are still the same people that you see. And it's kind of nice. It's like, it feels like unspoken community at times around here. I enjoy Islington. It's home, innit? It's what it is.
So livable neighbourhood is the framing that Islington uses to talk about a scheme that I guess began its life as an LTN, which is a low traffic neighbourhood. But livable neighbourhood tries to take a step back and think not about the removal of traffic, but more about actually what comes in place of that traffic. Green space, social space, activities for the community, places that really become animated and take on a whole new life when you see those traffic restrictions.
Islington is an inner London borough. It's incredibly dense. We have many people who walk, cycle already. We have no spaces that we can green, really, apart from our local streets. And if we are really going to contribute to making Islington a sort of sustainable place going forward, actually that's what we have to do. We have to look at our streets differently.
70% of young people want to get more involved in local decision making, but we also found that 38% don't know how. So there's a real appetite, but there's a real lack of awareness as well. But it also calls for a deeper kind of approach to participation, which means getting young people involved on a longer term basis. How does local government work? How can you make change happen in your neighbourhood and make your voice heard? We recruited these 4 young researchers from across the borough, and we have employed them as researchers at LSE Cities. They're paid an hourly wage and they're really treated as part of the research team.
And they themselves led the focus groups, interviews, co-designed a survey. All of us, as part of this research, received a tailored training from Partnership for Young London, which specializes in youth-led peer research. This project was also about upskilling young people.
So we came up with the research questions together. We wanted to know, firstly, what young people want from the green transition, and secondly, how policymakers can work better with them to really centre their visions for the future. We had a conversation with a policymaker early on that made me reflect on this. He said every tree he plants in the neighbourhood as he works towards a greener Islington is not for people walking around the trees today, it's for people walking around the trees in 5, 10, 15 years' time. So it's that long-term intergenerational perspective that you need for climate policy making means that young people's voices should be at the centre. Yeah, the design of it, we wanted to make sure that they were valued as experts.
It's my first time being part of something like this. It's nice to feel that I'm part of something that has the potential to make meaningful change, and I can already start to see how that is happening. And because part of the research project is we speak to people from Islington Council, and seeing their excitement to hear our findings and more about our research is really nice.
I think the key part that we all took from the focus groups is normally you have to go to the council or go and talk to them about how you feel about where you are and how the area is. But since they came to our space, it made you feel more heard.
I think peer research is really important because it brings the people who have lived expertise of the issues at hand into the room, and not only asks for their opinion and takes it away and analyses it in a different room in a kind of extractive pattern, but actually says, what are the right questions we should be asking here? What are the best ways to find out the answers? And how should we share this back? I think it makes research a lot more inclusive and a lot more practically useful.
For me, there is a real need to try and make sure that when we are doing transitions, we are making our streets, we are making our green spaces something that's attractive and welcoming to young people. And we absolutely want to understand what it is that's impacting them, but also then how we can do something to help. And also, just frankly, because we don't hear enough from young people. If we go out to an engagement or consultation, the number of young people who engage in that way is very, very low. I think also there's a real benefit for young people in becoming part of their community. And we know that works well for them, but actually it really strengthens the community as well. So I think everybody can really benefit from young people getting more and more involved.
We do make up such a large part of Islington. I think being able to voice that is really important. There are so many young people who have a passion and an interest in this kind of thing and just don't get the opportunities. The more young people we can get into rooms, into these conversations, the better it will be for everyone.
But at least the opportunity of me being heard, I'd then go, do you know what, there's just that chance that they take it into consideration. And there's just that chance that my little 2 pence makes a change for someone else. And I think that's important. I think that's good. And if more young people are able to feel like that, then it's only for the better, really, I believe.
That's why we're so interested to find out where young people stand on this, because young people really have a lot to contribute to this debate.
We're currently in the area that's becoming Malmö livable neighborhood, and we're catching it at a really exciting time as we can see all the changes currently happening, transforming the whole area to be a lot more walkable and, people-friendly. For any project such as livable neighborhoods, we have a legal duty as a council to consult with residents. We want to know what they think about the schemes that we're introducing. In Malmö, the numbers were quite stark. 7 out of 500 responses that we received were the demographic that we studied as part of this research. That's not just a gap, that's a whole generation of voices missing. This is consistent across other consultations for other livable neighborhoods as well. Gathering youth voice was what this research was all about, and trying to understand better why it might be that we're failing to engage with that demographic. This project wasn't just a research for research's sake. We are already taking these recommendations and making sure that we're embedding them, and that's the kind of partnership that really matters. So the next stage of this research project is to connect with other boroughs that have led similar processes and try look at peer research as a method of engaging young people on climate.
One of the most surprising findings of our research was actually that young people are still quite attached to their cars. I think the kind of immediate safety and security is still really important to young people. And so there's a lot of work to be done to make sustainable travel options feel like they carry that same cultural weight.
I'm kind of 50-50 because I ride line bikes everywhere. I'll jump on a line bike and I don't even know where I'm going, but I'll just go for a little lime ride. I kind of live both worlds. I appreciate it when I'm on a bike, and probably cyclists really do. But then when I'm in a car, I can be like, oh, that's a little bit annoying. If you're trying to change something for the environment that's for the better, someone's always going to lose.
But I think what's interesting is when you sort of dig deeper into that, it's not about the car really, it's about a sense of autonomy and having a safe space to be with friends, a sense of safety when travelling around. Sometimes it's hard to see that is what the green transition can bring. There was an interesting sort of back and forth with some young people in a focus group who were sort of asking about why they don't feel safe cycling around. It's talking about Lime bikes and not always having a helmet. And I was like, well, why do you feel like you need a helmet? And it's like, well, in case I crash. And I'm like, well, what is the biggest threat to you to crashing? And it's a car. And it was really beautiful almost to see that moment of realization of oh, it is the cars. I was so set on no, the cars are good, they make me feel safe, but they don't really. Maybe if the cars weren't there, they would cycle around and they would feel that sense of autonomy, to sort of have that conversation and start that curiosity into what the green transition could be.
It's not an easy time to be a young person in London. A lot of the immediate daily concerns that young people we met are encountering means that climate feels much more distant, and I think that's very understandable in many ways.
90% of our survey respondents said that green transition has to be linked to economic and social justice, that it looks at those deeper structural issues that they're facing, such as housing crisis, such as cost of living crisis, lack of jobs, all of these things that are impacting their daily lives.
Local politics and making changes to the streets around you is somehow more tangible and can feel more relevant. So I think at a time when a lot of young people are struggling with climate anxiety and also just the sense of being disconnected from these big, abstract and very negative debates, being able to localise it, being able to talk about what a environmentally friendly and socially sustainable place would look like right where you live is, I hope, a powerful way to bring young people who are disengaged with politics back into the conversation.
It's lovely to have green space, but actually if we don't increase our greenery, things like the flash flooding can have catastrophic impacts on people's businesses, on people's lives. We've got about the second highest number of basements in London, in Islington, for example. One of the 6 London boroughs most susceptible to climate change. There are all these things that are just going to get worse as it goes through the decades. We've always seen 40-degree summers. I mean, that's unimaginable 20 years ago. And this has a real impact on the lives and the health and well-being of local people as well. So actually, by working together, we can frankly save lives, and then if we all work collectively together across London, across the UK and across the world, we can actually do something to materially change the impacts of climate change on people's lives.